Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool Variac repair video for you this evening. This video, usually we do arcade game, pinball machine, and jukebox repair videos. We are not going to be doing that tonight. I am here in my office, and I've got this old Variac that I'm going to open up and see what is in it. I have a whole bunch of radios I'm going to be repairing, and I want to kind of get into that hobby a little bit. And so I might need to use this. Now this thing is old, so it may not work for my purposes, but it's kind of cool, and I want to look inside of it, and then I want to test it and see if it works. So we'll take a quick look at it, but I want to tell you where I got it too. I need to put down something so I don't scratch up my desk. I need to get I've been looking to get like one of those old school ink blotters, like a green one or something. You know, those cool ink blotters to put in here. Look at this thing. It's ancient. You can run 2 amps through it, it says. Made in the United States. Veritran. United Transformer Company, New York, New York. The knob is, the shaft, I guess, of the knob is bent a little bit. Or it may just be the knob, I don't know. But what would be more fun than plugging this thing up and seeing if any of this, see if it actually is accurate. Got an old fuse here on the front. In and out. And then a plug. But I'm thinking you can probably plug something into that, because we've got our plug for this. Old school, people. Old school. So let me tell you about old school. A gentleman that Donnie works with, last year his father passed away, and his father was really into radios. He loved working on radios, and had a bunch of radio equipment, test equipment, and radios and parts and tubes and stuff like that. And so when the family was going through his belongings, his son was asking Donnie if he knew anybody that was into old radios. And I am, right? I picked these things up all over the place. I got a bunch of them. I got crap everywhere. But I've worked, I've messed with a few of them. And usually I do pinball repairs and arcade game repairs and stuff like that. But we do some jukeboxes too, which, have some similarities to radios. They just don't have basically the RF and the IF and all of that, but they have the amp, right? So I'm interested in those. And I had a bunch of tubes and stuff because I use them in tube amp repairs and stuff. And I've done a little bit of that stuff. I'm no expert on it by any means. But, and I had a bunch of old radios and stuff. So I told him, yeah, man, I'd be interested in that stuff. So I went over to his house, and he had a room in his house that was set up as his shop, where he worked on old radios and stuff, and some newer stuff too. He had some just newer CD players and stuff like that, and a bunch of car radios and stuff like that. And he had a whole ton of vacuum tubes, and he had a couple testers, and he had a couple the Repairman boxes. What do they call it? Totes, caddies, tube caddies and stuff like that. And so I was like, man, yeah, I'd definitely be interested in that. And sitting on the wall, among other things, was this Variac. And yeah, I'd be interested in all that. So I made them an offer on it, and they accepted my offer. And so I went over and I picked all that stuff up, and it was a whole truckload of stuff. and this was sitting on the shelf. So I don't know if he ever used this, or, I mean, I would assume he did. I didn't find another one in there, and I think pretty much most of his test equipment was in there. I didn't see another one, so maybe this was the one that he used all the time. I don't know. He had been going through some health issues for a while, so I don't know how long it had been since he had been working on any of these. So this may have been sitting around for a while. But I want to show you something. I've got one of his business cards here from back in the day that was just in with a lot of the stuff. So Bob, and then that's his last name underneath the guitar pick there. I'm trying not to dox anybody. So this is an old school business card he had. Bob, we'll just say Miller. Bob Miller, that's not his name, I'm just making it up. Bob Miller, collector. It says antique radios, vintage TVs, buy, sell, trade, repair, parts, tubes, Charlotte, North Carolina. So I can just see him going out to like ham fests and stuff, you know, and handing these out to people. Hey, I'm a collector. So his son told us that he, at one time, he turned their house into a, you know, as a kid, he would tinker with his dad with these radios. And he said that he turned their house into a radio station. And they drove up the road, and they could get up about half a mile away before it faded out or something like that. So I'm sure he had some kind of, you know, signal generator pumping out some amps there for, you know, or maybe just had something playing on a, I don't know how he did it, but pretty cool. So this is, you know, to remember Bob by, right? He was a collector, and I got a lot of his stuff here, and I'm going to take care of it. And I think it would be neat to see if this thing works, and if it works good enough, I'll use it whenever I fix stuff. I like older vintage stuff. I like, you know, if you get something, there's not much to a Variac, you wouldn't think, right? But I'm sure there's just a big transformer in there and a big potentiometer or rheostat, I think it would be called. Well, 2 amps, I guess that could be a pot. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing, people. I'm an amateur. But I think, you know, some of this stuff, you know, you kind of need to use more modern equipment, you know. But, I'm just messing around. You know, I'm just a hobbyist kind of tinkering with it. I think this would probably work for me. So I think we need to open it up and see what it looks like inside. Look at the nice vents for heat dissipation. Look at that. And it says, I guess that says protect. Maybe it would have said protect your instruments. Protect your investment, maybe? Protect your important. Kind of looks like an M, doesn't it? I don't know. Well, I don't know if I need to take that knob off to take the case apart. I'm going to go with no, I do not. So let me get a Phillips screwdriver and I'll take these screws out. So I took the 8 screws out, and it looks like the whole bottom's going to come off and the sides. I need to get a tripod, make it a little easier for me to film this kind of stuff. Very cool. Boy, that's a big hunk of transformer, ain't it? Wow. Well, I'll bet that thing's gonna hum. So, the cord comes in, has a knot tied in it. The cord is in nice shape. I don't have any problem with the cord. And by the way, people, if you haven't watched my arcade game, pinball, machine, and jukebox videos, I am not a perfectionist. You're not going to see me do this the perfect way. And I don't know what I'm doing, so. I know, it's dangerous. Ooh. Look how they did that. What in the world am I looking at? I've never seen anything like that. I'll try to get a better shot or get some light in there. Maybe if I turn it. Bump, 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 bump. Whoa. Yeah, it's like it's running on a track or something. Oh, the whole thing moves. So it must... Yeah, I gotta get some light on it. Oh, okay, so it's rubbing on something up there. So that's to one extreme. And that's to the other extreme. Well, folks, this all looks just fine to me. Let's see if we can look up in there with some light. Maybe we need some contact cleaner on it. What do you think? Need the light to cooperate is what we need. Move my lamp over here. Oh yeah, there we go. Now the video is worth the price of admission. Wow, it's just riding on the... It's so cool. They've just got them arranged. How is it doing that if those are insulated though? So is it conducting through the what is that coated in? Right? I mean, that's nothing. That's just the coating on the wire. Does it just conduct through that? That is cool. So that wheel thing. It's like it just kind of short circuits it, but it's not. I mean, I don't think it's damaging the wire or anything. Okay, look how it's spinning too. So it spins, but then it's catching. I'll bet this thing's gonna have problems. I don't know. If you run a couple amps through it, though, it might. But on a radio, it might not use a couple amps. What do you think? Clean it up and give it a try? That's what I think. I think we clean it up and we give it a try. All right, so there's a fuse. What the hell? Yeah, better inspect that a little better before we juice her up. Oh, the in and out is useless. It's not hooked up. So I was wondering about that. So those holes there, the input, output, whatever, all of that's been removed, whatever it was. I wonder if those were little lights or something. I don't know. You know what I could do is try to find a picture of one online, but why would I do that, folks? It's more fun to just mess around with it and see what you can figure out. All right, so I need a meter or something to test it if we've got the guts to plug her up. Let me see if I've got a meter here at the house. All right, so here's the problem I see. You plug the whatever into here, but these are like, you know, come on, man. They won't touch, but you know. mean, you know, they won't pop all the way out, so we don't have that problem. But here's our jack. Look at that. Now they won't come out. Like, it'll do that, but it won't come out the back. So I don't know. Of course, that's not going to be reliable long term, but I'm just wondering if we can test it. I think we can test it. But I need to find what that would be called. I could replace that with a modern one, you know, from China. I could get one from China and pollute this thing. If I could find, so that would be a panel mount AC outlet, right? So if I was to Google or go on the eBays and say panel mount AC outlet, maybe throw a AC terminal in there. Panel mount AC terminal. Maybe I might find something that would fit in there, right? And if it was close, we could just do what we needed to do with the screws and then resolder the back end. So maybe we'll do that before we use it, but I think I could test it the way it is. Let me see about a multimeter. So I was looking to see if I had a multimeter here at the house. I do not, that I can find at least. I've got a couple old flukes, but they're at work. So I started thinking, man, I thought for sure I had a multimeter around here, but then I remembered I've got Bob's stuff. Now, people, if I passed away, I would hope that somebody would take all my stuff and get some use out of it. So I'll bet he would be thrilled. Somebody's going to try to use his meter or one of his meters. So this is an old Radio Shack meter. Check this out. Micronta. Hopefully we don't fry it. Custom manufactured in China. Ah, Bob. What are you doing to us? A division of Tandy, Fort Worth, Texas. Pretty cool. Well, it's China. Well, there that went. But it's all we got right now. So let's see what this sucker's got. DC, AC, okay, off, battery check on. Does it still have a battery in it? Yes, it does. Battery. Okay. Bob, your battery's still good, buddy. And in a box I found these, which may be the correct leads. Let's hook them up. This one has a 0 adjustment. I've never seen that. It's a little touchy. It's precise, people. All right, here goes nothing. Hope we don't, wrong way. Hope we don't fry his meter. Well, probes don't want to stick in the wall. Are we frying his meter? We are not frying his meter. Okay, so I've got it on 300. I'm used to a digital one. That's 123 or so, wouldn't it be? Got it on 300. I think we're at about 123 volts coming out of the wall, which is about dead on what's actually coming out of the wall. I think the 0 must have been pretty close. Oh, you know, I didn't think about that. If I set it on a smaller, if I set it on like that, it would be less touchy when you zero it in, probably. Well. Well, I think it works pretty good, actually. Let's see. Well. Continuity. Let's see if the continuity beeper beeps, although we don't really need that. Yeah. Meter works fine. Well, I guess we're going to plug in the varistor. I checked, it's got a 10 amp fuse in it. And the wall has a 15 amp breaker in it. And I've got the fire extinguisher. What do you think? $10 volts. I've got it set on 100. And I'll be darned if that's not dead on or pretty close. 10 volts. Okay. 20. 30. 40. I'm a little high. 50. 60. It's pretty cool. And then it's kind of weird how they do the, oh, remember it so the 65's down here because that's the place where it's between the two plates. So that's 65, but it really put us up to about 70. Okay. Now we're over on 70, but really we're about 75. 80, but we're pushing 90. 90, we're at 95, and 100, we've pegged it. So let's bump up to our 300. So I'm supposed to be at 100. I'm at 110. So that's 110. We're a little over 120. That's 120. We're at 130. And then if I go up to 130, so we're pegged, we're at 140. But I gotta say, the thing works perfect. I mean, it's working absolutely perfect, right? But since it's just AC and there's no rectifier or anything like that going on, and well, there's no load, but I don't think that would change it. But it's because my wall voltage is higher. Back when they made this, you were probably supposed to run on 110 or 115. Yeah, 115. So you're supposed to run it at 115, and I think I'm more like 125. I can tell you, actually. Let me unplug this thing, since it's done its thing. Oop. Let me do that with two hands. Okay, so I didn't touch the meter. I just unplugged it from the Veritran, and plugged it into the outlet. And yes, I mean, look, that's probably, according to this at least, that's 126 or so. So, it could be that I don't have the thing zeroed properly, but if I'm, I was about 10 high whenever I got up to the higher measurements, like 110, 120, I was about 10 high. So that would make sense because my voltage is like 10 or 11 high coming out of the wall. So, what have we learned? The Variac works perfect. Did you see how smooth it went too? No problems. I guess the way that thing's designed must just be reliable as crap. Reliable as heck, right? And his old Tandy Micronta meter appears to work perfect. That's cool, man. All right. So I need to clean this up a little bit, and I want to see about if I can find that. So I'm going to look this up and see what the in-out, we're unplugged by the way, so I can see what the in-out thing was supposed to be for originally. And then I want to see if I can find a panel mount AC plug. Surely they still make those. So let me see what I can find about that. So looking on eBay, it looks like there were a ton of different variations. And on some of them, you would just hook it up with little terminals on the front. Mine's been either modified or, well, I'm sure it's been modified. But this one didn't have the AC connection. So what they probably did was they just disconnected this on mine and added the AC thing, terminal, panel mount, thingy-majig. Wouldn't it be cool though to like replace that with a switch? If I could put a switch in there somehow. It's a weird size, I don't know. If I could put a switch in there somehow, that might be cool. All right, here's a catalog from UTC from 1953 where they show what they have, and the VO one there is the 2 amp one, which appears to be the one that I've got, but it doesn't have that outlet that's been, I guess, hacked into mine. I bet it wasn't original. So this is in 1953, so there's another catalog from 1963. And in 1963, it appears that it had been discontinued because they had a nicer one. So these are all 5 amp, and some of them even have a meter in it. So that's pretty cool. So it's probably from the mid to late 50s, and somebody has hacked that little plug-in, which I like better than the terminals. So I'm gonna hack a better one in. I gotta check how the fuse is too. People online are saying that the fuse should be on the outside, the output of the transformer, which makes a lot of sense to me. So I might have to change how that's wired. I don't know. I can't remember how they had it going. I'll have to look at it again, but we'll see. Well, after I took the old plug out, it became obvious that it had been added. See how the case is kind of hacked up? So clearly that was added in. And the 2 wires on the back of it were round, so they had been on wherever the 2 posts were. I guess there's a 3rd post, but so I ordered a little AC plug receptacle outlet, whatever. But guess what? The hole spacing was slightly different. It was the same body size, but the spacing on the holes was slightly different. So I chipped it. Had a little boo-boo. But it's just on the plastic on the ear there. It's all right. Don't worry about it. We've got good prongs now, at least, right? if I hadn't tied up the wire so pretty, I'd plug it into itself. We could check it out. Yeah, let's do that. Who knows? Maybe that'll. Can it work like? I don't think you can plug a varistor into itself, right? Well, the good news is it's not a light fit. You gotta force it a little bit. Good Lord. It's in there. What the hell? What in the world? What the hell? It has some kind of lock on the plug. I don't know, people. This is a weird one. It's patent pending. All right. Well, I think a normal thing will plug in there now. I think we're good. You know, come on. We're not going to use this on everything, but every once in a while I'll probably need it for something. I was thinking you could take this out and put like a little voltmeter in there, but it probably, since this seemed to be pretty accurate, I think maybe like a amp meter might be better to show you how many amps it's pulling, right? The other thing is, since this is the 2 amp model, you know, that'd probably be good to have a little amp meter, because you're going to have to hook one up to it anyway if you're doing radio repair. But I think I can use this on a few things, right? So it'll be cool to have at least a Variac if I find myself needing one. So I like it. I think it's very usable. We tested it. Everything seems cool. I think I'll add that to my repair tool collection. And then if I get better at it, where I know what I'm doing, I might build a box or something with that and a dim bulb tester and an amp meter and a voltmeter and stuff like that all in it. It'd be kind of cool to have a something with all of that in one thing, and you could turn different things on and off, you know, kind of like a music mixing board or something. But this will be a nice little tool I can use on some things. So I like it, and I think Mr. Bob would probably be happy that somebody's going to get a little bit of use out of one of his tools and his meter as well. Now, since you waited all the way to the end like this, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. When I was at Bob's little shop after he had passed away in his house, like his little shop in his house, I took some pictures and I took a short little video. So I'm going to show you how his little thing was set up, just so we can remember the old timers who came before us. I don't know what I'm doing. He probably knew a little more about it than I do, but you can see just how he had stuff in his shop. And I always thought it was kind of neat to see how other people's shops are, and just, you know, what's important to them, and what did they hang on the wall, and what all's in there, right? So I'll show you his shop. You might see this and this in there. There's one video that I think I've still got a copy of that goes real fast. I'll slow it down so that we can see this stuff a little bit better, and we'll just leave on that note and remember him. So if you like the video, make sure to subscribe. Leave your comments down below. And of course, usually I do arcade game, pinball, and jukebox videos. I'll be back with one of those in a couple days. So we'll see you on the next one. I hope you enjoyed tinkering around with it. We didn't really do anything, but it's just kind of neat to look over a couple old pieces of equipment that I got off somebody. And here's what Bob had going on.